सालों के बाद बीवी के साथ कोई रोमांटिक बात करना बिल्कुल ऐसे ही है कि आप एक ऐसी जगह पे खारिश कर रहे हैं जहाँ पे खारिश नहीं हो रही। तो पता नहीं लोग क्यों ऐसे करते हैं कि एनीवेज। ओके, पार्ट 4 क्वेश्चंस 31 to 40 complete the notes below, right? Write one word only for each answer. So no number, just words and one word only for each answer. How the Industrial Revolution affected life in Britain. Now listen, in part 4, most of the time we have one word only. And there is blank thing, okay? Now, very important point is whatever is written before the blank, that phrase, or whatever is written after the blank, these things are going to help you find the answers like this. Okay, I tell you how. Let's just do it together. And another thing, they will give you almost 1 minute to read questions 31 to 40. In listening part 4, there is always a lecture. Lecture means one person is speaking. And mostly students complain, part 4, the speed is very fast. Audio is 1.25. It's not 1.25 at all. It's only that because there is a lecture, one person is delivering the lecture, so the native speakers speak fluently. That fluency does not mean audio is 1.25. Okay, it's normal. So sometimes they just go on like that. Now, they will give you 1 minute to read the questions, and there is something long like this. So you're not supposed to read everything. There will be the bullet points. The bullet points where there are the questions, you will read them only. The bullet points where there are no questions, you will only underline 1 or 2 words there so that you know audio has reached here. Understand? Okay, now let's see how. Can you see the first bullet point? And we have a question. For the first time, people's possessions were used to measure Britain's dash. Right? So for the first time, people's possession means if I have a car, if I have some gold jewelry, if I have a big house, so my possessions will be used to measure. For measure, they might use the word calculate. And for Britain, they might use the word dash of the country. Dash of the country. So for Britain, they can use the word of the country. And for measure, to calculate the dash of the country. Now whatever they say after calculate dash of the country, that will be your answer. Okay, now please listen.
Hi everyone. In this session, I'll be presenting my research about the social history of Britain during the Industrial Revolution. I particularly looked at how ordinary lives were affected by changes that happened at that time. This was a time that saw the beginning of a new phenomenon, consumerism, where buying and selling goods became a major part of ordinary people's lives. In fact, it was in the 19th century that the quantity and quality of people's possessions was used as an indication of the wealth of the country. Before this,
used as an indication of the wealth of the country. Wealth of the country means country's wealth. And this apostrophe S, usually it is replaced by of, of. Wealth of the country means country's wealth. So the answer is wealth. That's right. Question number 32. Developments in production of goods and. Now remember, in Ielts listening part 4, whenever they use and then there is a blank. So for and they can use and. For and they can use not only A but also B. A and B. Right? For and they can also use A as well as B. For and they can also use A or B. Or is also used for and. So these are 3-4 possible synonyms of and. Now whatever they are going to say after goods as well as not only goods but also, that will be your answer. So let's see.
This was the era from the mid-18th to the late 19th century, when improvements in how goods were made, as well as in technology, triggered massive social changes that transformed life.
How goods were made and technology. They use the word simple, how goods were made as well as Technology.
This was the era from the mid-18th to the late 19th century, when improvements in how goods were made, as well as in technology,
so you will write technology as the answer. Clear? Good. And in part 4, they always have these choices. Once you practice 5-6 tests, you will be clear about them. Okay, next we've got main areas of change. Manufacturing. Industrial revolution, question number 33. Industrial revolution would not have happened without the new types of dash. Without the new types of dash. Now underline new types of. And I'll show you some magic. Write there new sources of. For new types of, in the audio they are going to use the word new sources of. And whatever they say after new sources of, that will be your answer.
First, let's look at manufacturing. When it comes to manufacturing, we tend to think of the Industrial Revolution in images of steam engines and coal. And it's true that the Industrial Revolution couldn't have taken place at all if it weren't for these new sources of power. They marked an important shift away from the traditional watermills and windmills that had dominated before this.
Alright, so the answer is power. And for without, they use the word couldn't have taken place. Couldn't have taken place, and the new sources of power. So new sources of power and new types of power. Okay, let's go on. Question number 34. The leading industry was dash. For leading industry, they can say the major industry, the most common industry, the most popular industry, the famous industry. So leading industry, and the answer is going to be an industry, right? Let's see. Leading, focus the word leading. Maybe they can use the word most advanced industry was dash, most advanced. Top trending, yes, why not? Top trending, yeah, why not?
The most advanced industry for much of the 19th century was textiles. This meant that fashionable
most advanced industry was textiles. Singular or plural, both ways it is right. Textile, how do you spell? T-A-X? T-E-X, exactly. If you write the wrong spelling, last time I was teaching online, there was the word calendar. Calendar is with D-A-R or E-R? A-R. Right, you're confusing me also. It's D-A-R. So one student wrote with D-E-R, which is wrong. Okay, textile is the right answer, and you should write it singular or plural, they'll accept it. Now, question number 35. New dash made factories necessary. New. For new, they use the word latest. For new, they use the word upgraded. For new, they use modern, absolutely. Modern, latest, upgraded, and all that. New dash made factories necessary.
Before the Industrial Revolution, most people made goods to sell in small workshops, often in their own homes. But enormous new machines were now being created that could produce the goods faster and on a larger scale.
So new machines, exactly, made factories necessary.
And these required a lot more space.
Alright, now we go on transport. You can see first bullet point without any question, and they've written the word canals. Just underline the word canal. Again, I'm telling you, the bullet point without a question should not be read. Only skim read and underline one word. That's it. It's only to track the audio. Because of the new transport, greater access to dash made people more aware. Greater access. Now just focus the word greater access. For example, greater access to internet made people more aware. Greater access, for that they might use the word internet was available openly, or internet was available easily, or internet was available everywhere. That means greater access. So,
as well as manufacturing, there were new technologies in transport, contributing to the growth of consumerism. The horse-drawn stagecoaches and carts of the 18th century, which carried very few people and goods and travelled slowly along poorly surfaced roads, were gradually replaced by the numerous canals that were constructed. These were particularly important for the transportation of goods. The canals gradually fell out of use, though, as railways were developed, becoming the main way of moving goods and people from one end of the country to the other. And the goods they moved weren't just coal, iron, clothes and so on. Significantly, they included newspapers, which meant that thousands of people were not only more knowledgeable...
Significantly, they included the newspaper. So, greater access to newspaper. And for that, they used the word thousands of people. Please listen.
...the country to the other. And the goods they moved weren't just coal, iron, clothes and so on. Significantly, they included newspapers, which meant that thousands of people were not only more knowledgeable about what was going on in the country.
Thousands of people not only knowledgeable means greater access to newspaper made people more aware. Knowledgeable is for aware. Okay, let's go on. Question number 37. Again, I'm telling you the way I'm doing it, you have to do it. The way I'm observing and analyzing certain words, you have to do it on your own. Because with me, you can solve you can solve many tests with me. I've got around 60 plus videos on listening. So, but when you solve the test on your own, and when you are actually taking your listening test, you are practicing, and in actual exam, you'll focus all these things. Question number 37. When shopping, people were not limited to buying dash goods, type of goods, right? And for goods, they can use items, or they can talk about those goods. So when shopping, people were not limited to buying imported goods or anything like that, right? Let's see.
So faster forms of transport resulted in distribution becoming far more efficient. Goods could now be sold all over the country instead of just in the local market.
People were not limited to buying local goods, right? So please listen to it again.
So faster forms of transport resulted in distribution becoming far more efficient. Goods could now be sold all over the country instead of just in the local market.
Goods can be sold all over the country instead of just the local market. So people were not limited to buying local goods. They could buy goods from other cities and countries as well. Okay, now next, retailing. In retailing, you can see first department is mentioned. Just underline first bullet point, first department. Second bullet point, displays of goods were more visible. Whenever you go to any shop, you see there is a display. Display of cold drinks, and now cold drink freezers, they are with the glass screen as well, right? So displays of goods were more visible. Then they say inside stores, because of better dash. Display of the things was more visible because of better lights, because of better, something like that, okay? Now just underline better. For better, we will see what word they use.
The third main area that saw changes that contributed to consumerism was retailing. The number and quality of shops grew rapidly, and in particular, small shops suffered as customers flocked to the growing number of department stores, a form of retailing that was new in the 19th century. The entrepreneurs who opened these found new ways to stock them with goods and to attract customers. For instance, improved lighting inside greatly increased the visibility of the goods for sale.
Improved lighting, and for better they use the word improved. Underline now better and improved. Wherever you see better in Ielts, they will use the word improved for that. And these techniques will help you in Ielts reading also. Okay, improved lighting is better lighting. Question number 39. Outside stores, because dash were bigger. Now listen, dash were bigger. For that they can use the word that was greater in size. Bigger means greater in size. Or they can use the word larger than before. So bigger, larger, size, greater in size, these words will be used. Now just you got to see what was bigger. कौन सी चीज थी जो पहले से बड़ी थी, like that.
Another development that made goods more visible from outside resulted from the use of plate glass, which made it possible for windows to be much larger than previously.
Windows to be much larger. So bigger, what is the word for that? Much larger. So the answer is? Yeah, okay. Thank God you didn't say larger. Alright. Windows is the right answer. Last question, dash, that was persuasive. Now listen, in Ielts, whenever you see the word that was, okay, I tell you how do they deal with that. Okay, for example, if just write a sentence on your note, on your handout. That was expensive. That was expensive. Okay, now in the audio, you know what will they do? They will say expensive water. What does that mean? Water that was expensive. For example, dirty water. Water that was dirty. Okay, so whenever they use that was persuasive, answer will come before persuasive. Okay, and it's going to be a sort of adjective. Right? So let's see.
New ways of promoting goods were introduced too. Previously, the focus had been on informing potential customers about the availability of goods. Now, there was an explosion in advertising trying to persuade people to go shopping.
Advertising trying to persuade people to go shopping. So advertising that was persuasive. Advertising trying to persuade people means persuasive advertising. So the answer is advertising. Listen to it again.
New ways of promoting goods were introduced too. Previously, the focus had been on informing potential customers about the availability of goods. Now, there was an explosion in advertising trying to persuade people to go shopping.
Okay, persuasive and then advertising will be the right answer. Now, this is just one possible way of solving a test. And again, I tell you, if you really want to improve your bench score, do test after test like this.